Hello there, my name is Michael Maynard and welcome back to Gorilla Picking. Now, the lock that you see in front of you here is an Abus E90N, and I have to say it's a lock with a wee bit of a checkered history in more ways than one. Now, this lock was a gift. It was in a parcel from a UK lock sport member by the name of Michael in Germany, where Abus locks come from. And Michael picks under the name the Keymaster. Now the Keymaster is from Ghostbusters obviously, and he looks like this. And this lock came to me with Abus Egon written on it like that. And if you've watched Ghostbusters, you'll know that Egon looks like this. Okay, so when this lock arrived, I thought it was a challenge lock because guys, very often give their locks funny names, and Egon fitted with Keymaster, and I thought, okay, fair enough. So I picked it, and it wasn't a difficult pick, but it did pick a little bit strange. And so I sent it off to Steve in Tauranga. He picked it as well, and he wanted to know who pinned this thing up as well. We both thought it was a challenge lock. Then we were discussing this thing on UK Lock Sport a few days later, and Michael pipes up and says, nah, it's just a straight standard E90N, and that is its model number. And at that point, Steve and I wondered what the hell we'd struck. So then I did a wee bit of research online, and the E90N is a very interesting lock, guys. It is not in Abus's current catalogue, which tells you something already. Until 2004, it was their flagship standard security anyway lock, and you'll see that it is kite marked. So it's got the British Standards Association, the BSI kite mark, and 3 stars, which means it's as good security as you're going to get. And Abus have their own internal rating system. They rate this one 10 out of 10. Now, I don't think it's anywhere near 10 out of 10, and I'll show you why later on. But what then happened in 2015 is that the BSI re-evaluated a whole lot of locks, and this lost its 3-star rating. I believe it's now just down on 2. And as a result of that, you can actually pick these things up fairly cheap now, and Abus have taken it off of their website. So by the look of it, the E60 is their current lock of choice. So we are left looking at and reviewing a lock which has had a bit of a checkered past, but you look at the thing and you think, man, this is a really cool looking lock. There is mitigation here for snapping, obviously. So the idea of these breakaway units here is that you can snap the front off of the lock, and the lock will, number one, still stay locked up because we've got 3 pins sitting in behind that, and number 2, your key will actually still work in the lock as well. So even if some idiot tries to snap this off your front door, they're not going to be able to get in, but you still are. The second thing that is claimed about this, it apparently has anti-bump technology and anti-drill technology as well. Now, I can't speak for the anti-bump and anti-drill technology because we haven't yet had a look inside it. And that brings me to my next point. Of the guys that have picked these on YouTube, guys, nobody has an easy time disassembling this lock. It is, by the look of it, a difficult beast of a lock to pull apart. So what are we going to do here? First things first, I am going to pick one side open. It looks to me to be symmetrical, so there's 3mm difference in the lengths, and I'm just going to pick the longer one of the two just because I can't think of any real reason. But so we're going to pick the 40mm side. We will then strip this thing apart, and we will see if we can get into it and find out what's in there. So back in a second, we'll get the job done. Okay guys, well, we are clamped up and we are ready to go. Now there is the key, 6 pins, difficult bitting because that's a low cut first pin. Works pretty much like keys should. Now it is a big wide open keyway, and I think that's a little bit weird, frankly. For a high security lock, you'd expect a difficult keyway, but that seems not to be the case here. So we're going to get in there with a 25 thousandths hook. We're going to use the Sparrow's Tron for a start. This has become my new default short hook. Okay, a little click on 4. Felt like a standard pin. Nothing else. Back to the back of the lock. Oh, okay, right. Touched the merest hint of a touch on 6 there and dropped into a false set. So now in theory we really just should be looking for counter rotation, but this is where it got weird on me last time. I found counter rotation on 5 here. I found that the counter rotation dried up, and that counter rotation on 4, lost my false set, nothing on 3, nothing on 2, nothing on 1. Yeah, it's picking more like a challenge lock than a standard lock, and I do not get that. There must be some weird reason for it, but I am blowed if I know what that reason is so far. Now the other thing that I notice here is that the binding order has locked everything up, and I'm not getting any more binders, so I'm going to now get in there with a steeper hook and hopefully sneak underneath 1, because I think 1 is now bound, and I am desperately looking for something that is binding like a normal spool. I'm really not finding anything. 2 maybe. Let's take a chance on 2. Okay, 2 kind of set on me, but at the expense of losing my false set. Okay, which I've just got back again. Now what do we got? We got nothing on 1, feels rock solid. Nothing on 2, feels set. 3 has gone loose. 4 could be counter rotating there. Yeah, I think 4's counter rotating. Let's try that. Okay, and it did, and it's set. I thought we had 4 set like a standard, personally. We're at the back of the lock. 6, 5. I think 6 maybe needs tweaking again. Let's just see if anything else is outstanding, and if not, yeah, well, we got a decent false set. We've maybe got feedback on 2. Let's just go right down to the back of the lock again. There's something weird at the back of the lock there too. Some sort of strange spring-loaded thing. This is a very strange, very complex lock. It's more complex than it should be, and I think that's its weakness actually. Okay, some counter rotation here. I don't know what pin I'm on there. 2 maybe. And we're open. Right, gentlemen, I genuinely do not understand how that picked in the way that it did, and I am going to be very interested to see what we have got in this thing.
A few moments later.
Well, gentlemen, it is not often I am lost for words, but the dog's fucking breakfast that you see in front of me there has just boggled my mind. Forgive me for the use of the language, gents, but I have just never seen anything like this, and particularly from Abus, who is supposed to be a reputable company, okay? The mind boggles. They have simply used complex pinning for complex pinning's sake. I will go on record as saying whoever designed this pinning and whoever designed this lock full stop did not know what they are doing. I know that's harsh, but it's just the way it is. I don't know where to start. You can see that there are 1, 2, 3, 4 spools. All the key pins are standard, incidentally, so no real surprises there. Okay, but for the love of God, would you look at pins 3 and 4? Now they've used 2 different pin-in-pin arrangements, and I just cannot begin to imagine why that would be. This one, so help me, is sprung. Okay, so that springs in and out, and I am assuming that that is the little detent that you have to push your key past sometimes. So sometimes when you put the key into this thing, it'll just go straight in easy. Other times it goes in most of the way and then you have to push it a little bit further, and I think that may be the reason. Then next door to it here, in chamber number 4, there is a pin-in-pin arrangement again, but I got no idea why. It's only got 1 spring, so it's not a sprung pin-in-pin like a multi-lock would be, for example. This one in chamber 3 has its own special little spring, and I can kind of get that because the pin's longer, obviously, so the spring needs to be shorter. But what that was all about, I'm lost for words. Now, I did take the other half of the lock apart as well, so we've got the whole thing adrift, and I might just zoom out a little further so that you guys can see the rest of this. The 2 halves of the core look like that. Yes, genuinely, they are designed to snap off here, and yes, genuinely, that is designed to retain 1 pin. So I guess their claim that you can get in there and use your own key to open it but the burglar can't is kind of right, although I don't know that too many burglars are going to have too much trouble picking 1 spool pin just quietly. But anyway, so there is a modicum of anti-snap protection, I guess. I wondered if these pin-in-pin arrangements might work as some kind of trap pin, but you'll see here that they're in positions 3 and 4, and there is absolutely nothing special about 3 and 4 in the barrel there. In the body of the lock, there are no special little holes. I don't think you're going to be able to see that, and I don't think it really matters. So there's nothing for these things to interact with in the body or the core. And then this cam arrangement here has got this bizarre spring thing that goes right through the middle of the lock. So what you can't really do is disassemble one side at a time. It's an absolute nightmare, and my guess is that it's not in service anymore because the locksmiths absolutely hated it. If I was a locksmith and I was asked to work on this thing, I'd just turn around and walk away. I'd just drill it and get rid of it. So there you go, gents. The Abus E90N. Interesting lock to pick from a lock sporter's point of view, and I'm going to put it back together again, and I am going to forward this to West Coast Picks in actual fact, mate. So Harley, this lock is on its way to you. I am going to leave out this gubbins in the middle. Nobody needs that crap. Okay, so I'm going to assemble the 2 sides but have nothing in the middle here. If you are ever faced with one of these as a consumer and you're deciding whether or not to buy it, gentlemen, my advice is do not. So there you go. My name's Michael Maynard. This is Gorilla Picking, and this has been the Abus E90N, a flawed lock. Thanks for watching, guys.